Welcome to Chef Steak. I'm your host, Michael Zavlaris. Today is January 13th, 2023. This will be the first video I release during the new year. I apologize for the inconvenience and the inactivity. I haven't been near my streaming software, so I haven't been able to make any videos. But I'm here now. That's all that matters, so let's get right into it. The 2022 and 2023 NFL regular season has officially concluded. The Eagles have the best record in the NFL with a 14-3 record, and so do the Kansas City Chiefs. Both the Eagles and Chiefs have the best record in the league, both respectively having the first seed in their respective conferences, therefore having the playoffs run through their respective stadiums up until the playoffs if they do make it there. And the Chicago Bears have officially clinched the first overall pick after the Houston Texans have fumbled the bag, firing Lovie Smith afterwards. So yeah, I'm actually kind of caught off guard that the Bears were getting the first pick. Their general manager said that they are going to be they're going to be evaluating all options. However, he did say that he will not pick a quarterback unless he's absolutely blown away. And those two top quarterbacks in this draft are Alabama's Bryce Young, who won the Heisman last year, and C.J. Stroud, who was one of the favorites to win the Heisman this year before Caleb Williams, who I put money on to win, won the award. So that's it for the regular season. The playoffs are officially set. You have Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, the Chargers, Baltimore, and Miami in the AFC. And in the NFC, you have Philly, San Francisco, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, despite being 8-9, Dallas, Giants, and Seattle. So, yeah, I believe 6 of the teams that are in the playoffs this year weren't even in the playoffs last year. Giants and Jaguars and Seahawks being some of them. So, yeah, let's talk about the All-Pro teams. The All-Pro teams have officially been announced, voted by the Associated Press. I never understood that. I don't know why the Associated Press gets to vote for the teams. It just never made sense to me. I'm just assuming to avoid the players voting for them because they could just vote their own teammates on there, which I can understand. But the Associated Press, I don't know. So let's look at the NFL All-Pro first team for 2022. We have right here, if it actually, God damn it. There we go. As you see right there, offense, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Joel Bitonio, Zach Martin, Jason Kelce. Defense, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, Matt Milano from Buffalo, Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Talona Hufanga. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. And special teams, Carlson, who's been a monster this year. Tommy Townsend. Keyshawn Nixon, who's been tearing it up on the kick returns. Marcus Jones, who looked like prime Devin Hester at some points during his punt returns. Jeremy Reeves as a special teamer. And long snapper Andrew DePaula from Minnesota. And Niner fans are complaining about there not being a fullback position. Look, the fullback position is going extinct. I hope they know that. There's only two of the 32 teams in the league actually use a fullback on the daily. The Niners and the Ravens. You have Kyle Juszczyk and Patrick Richard. That's it. Other than that, I can't tell you a team that actually uses a fullback as often as those two. Like, there's no need to have it. They're complaining about having a long snapper on the Pro Bowl team. I can understand that, but every team has a long snapper. Not every team has a fullback. So I don't know what to tell you. Then if we look down here at the second team, we have Jalen Hurts, Nick Chubb, George Kittle, A.J. Brown, Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, which actually caught me off guard, not going to lie to you. I need to look at all the numbers again. Andrew Thomas, Tristan Wirfs, Joe Thunley, Chris Lindstrom, Kareem Humphrey. Defense, Myles Garrett, Hassan Reddick. Thank God he's been overlooked all year, despite being second in the league in sacks and top 2 in forced fumbles. Sexty Dexty, Jeffrey Simmons, Bobby Wagner, C.J. Mosley, Demario Davis. I'm actually surprised, what's his name? T.J. Edwards really wasn't mentioned. He's been really good this year. Cornerbacks, Jair Alexander and James Bradbury. I'll talk about him in a minute. Safeties, Derwin James and Justin Simmons. Place kicker, Justin Tucker. He has to be on there. Ryan Stonehouse, who I think has the record for net yards, average yards per punt. Kick returner, Keen Nwanganu. I don't want to fumble that, but I feel like I did. Punt returner, Khalif Raymond from Detroit. Special teamers, George Odom, and long snapper, Nick Moore. Not bad. I'm glad Hassan Reddick made it. You love to see it. I'm not surprised that Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Jason Kelsey, and Lane Johnson made it. Bradbury, I'm glad he made it. Was I expecting him on the list? Nope. Was I expecting Darius Slay? I actually was. But we'll talk about Slay and Bradbury in a minute. Interior defensive lineman, I can't believe Javon Hargrave wasn't on it. He's been one of the best defensive tackles this year. So, I don't know what to tell you there. I'm actually shocked. But anyway, that's besides the point. Speaking of, let's talk about the Eagles now. So, yeah. We broke a lot of records this year. Most touchdowns in a season. We were 3 sacks away from breaking the all-time sacks record, which is currently held by the 1984 Chicago Bears with 72, and we were at 70, despite having an extra game, which is still impressive. We're the first team in NFL history to have at least four players with double-digit sacks, those players being Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, who just came off an Achilles injury last year, and Javon Hargrave. Also, franchise history, Devontae Smith broke the single-season record for receptions by a receiver. A.J. Brown broke Mike Quick's receiving yards on a season record on the first play of the game. He needed 7 or 8 yards, and he got 30-something. So, records were being broken this year. Jalen was close to winning MVP until he missed 2 games with a shoulder injury, and Gardner Minshew kind of fucked it up for us. Oh well. Well, he further proved the point that Jalen Hurts isn't a system quarterback. He is a system. The team is built around him. And I told Matt this when I really think we would have beaten the Saints if we had Cam Newton, who is a mobile quarterback. We had to change the play calling a lot because Gardner Minshew is a completely different quarterback than Hurts. So there's that. But I want to give the season prediction, the season awards for the Eagles. MVP, Jalen Hurts, without any doubts. Offensive Player of the Year for the Eagles, I really want to give to Hurts again, but he has MVP, so I'll give to A.J. Brown. Defensive Player of the Year, I want to give to either Bradbury or Reddick? I'm going to go with Reddick here. The rookies of the year, I can't really give you rookies. I mean, our rookies hardly played this year. So, yeah, and comeback player for the Eagles is easily, without a doubt, Brandon Graham. And breakout player for the Eagles was TJ Edwards, I think. So, yeah. Now, I'm going to get back to talking about Darius Slay and James Bradbury. I kind of got into it. Nothing serious, but on Instagram, I saw a list of, I saw rankings of the top 10 cornerbacks from this season. And they had James Bradbury over Darius Slay. I agree. I actually agree. James Bradbury has been our best cornerback this year. He's been the most consistent cornerback on our team this year. And I believe he is top 3 in passer rating when quarterbacks target him. Darius Slay, he did lock down Justin Jefferson, but in recent weeks he's been playing like shit. So, yeah. James Bradbury, I think, was our best cornerback this year, without a doubt. And we can debate it if you want, but that's what I think. So, yeah. And unfortunately, he's set to be a free agent this year, and after making the second All-Pro team, he's going to ask for a shit ton of money. We signed him to a $7 million deal. He's going to be getting at least 15 after how he did this year. But back to the debate. I talked to someone. They said, well, Darius Slay guards the number 1 guys, and Bradbury guards the number 2. Now, that is true, but there's also more to it. James Bradbury generally guards the more physical and bigger receivers. Let's say we played the Seahawks in the playoffs or something. Darius Slay is going to be on Tyler Lockett, and Bradbury is going to be on DK Metcalf. That's how it's going to be. Darius Slay, since he came to Philly, has never done well against a physical receiver. Ever. Bradbury can do that. He played against Mike Evans twice a year for the majority of his career. And you actually look, it's a dogfight between the two. He actually does really well against Evans, who is a really good receiver. He's a really consistent receiver, getting 1,000 yards every year in his career. So, yeah. It is partially true that Slay would guard the better receiver, but that's not always the case. Bradbury would also guard they would switch occasionally, but Bradbury would be on the more physical guys, and Bradbury has done really well this year. Slay hasn't done bad, but like I said, recent weeks, I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. Hopefully he gets it fixed in the playoffs. But, yeah. Bradbury's been our best guy, without a doubt, at the corner position. So, that leads me to another thing. We have to win the Super Bowl this year. It's Super Bowl or bust, because we're getting gutted next year. I hate to say it. Next, we're going to be losing. These guys are on expiring contracts this year. Fletcher Cox, Robert Quinn, Brandon Graham, Siobhan Hargrave, Jason Kelsey, James Bradbury, Isaac Seumalo, Andre Dillard, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Boston Scott, Zach Pascal, Miles Sanders, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Gardner Minshew, and Marcus Epps. Our defense has been really good this year, and we're about to lose our key defensive players this year. So, we have to win it. We only have $30 million to spend, and Howie Roseman hasn't had any contract discussions with anybody this year, according to a lot of sources. Because right now, his top priority is to sign Jalen Hurts. Jalen will still be on his rookie deal next year, but we still have to pay him. He's going to be, I'm telling you right now, he's going to get at least $45-50 million a year. Kyler's getting $50 million a year. He hasn't done shit this year. Russell Wilson getting paid $50 million a year. Hasn't done shit this year. Jalen Hurts will be getting a bag whether you like it or not. So that is priority number one. But Howie will turn into his accountant self and restructure all the contracts. Like, I know he will do it, but there are so many guys we have to bring back. Our defense was really good this year, and we're about to lose all of the guys that made it good. So, and that's bad because next year we go against the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bucks. We play against a lot of really good teams this year, given how well we did this year. Now, if I go down the list, I can tell you who's most likely coming back and who isn't coming back. Fletcher Cox, he's not coming back. He's not nearly the same guy he was a few years ago, and we almost got rid of him last year. We almost traded him at the deadline, but we didn't. Robert Quinn, I don't see us bringing him back, honestly, unless he does well and then we sign him back to a cheaper deal. Like, in case you guys forgot, Robert Quinn, when we traded for him, he had like 2 or 3 years left on his deal, and both parties mutually agreed to void those years and have him set to be a free agent after this year. Javon Hargrave, I hope we bring him back. He's been our best defensive tackle. Brandon Graham, he's coming back. He has to come back. If he isn't, Howie's going to get flamed for this shit, no matter how much of a success this team is. Kelsey. Now, Kelsey is a tricky one. If we win the Super Bowl, I see him retiring. He's been thinking about retirement for like the past 5 years now. So, yeah. But if he doesn't retire, we're going to bring him back. I just don't see him going to another team. He's either going to retire or he's coming back to the Eagles. He will not be in a different uniform next season. Bradbury, I hope we bring him back. I pray we bring him back. But he's going to get paid somewhere. But look, from a business standpoint, I don't see us bringing him back, because I think Howie's just going to try and save as much as he can to get Hurts. And I feel like we're going to let Bradbury walk, unfortunately, as much as I don't want us to. And we draft a cornerback in the draft, like someone like Keely Ringo from Georgia. So sucks to say, I don't see Bradbury coming back, but I really hope he does. Isaac Seumalo, I think he comes back. Dillard, I don't know what to tell you. Kaiser White, I don't see him coming back. TJ Edwards. Here's the thing. Howie has never re-signed a linebacker, ever. Like, he drafts the linebackers and he lets them walk in free agency. It always happened. So, I don't know about TJ Edwards. I hope we bring him back. He's been really good on defense this year. Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph, I don't see him coming back. I mean, they were fillers for Jordan Davis. They could put, if depending on how the offseason looks, they could possibly come back, but I don't see it happening. Boston Scott, I don't even know. Zach Pascal's a question mark. I don't see us bringing Pascal back, actually. Sanders. Now, how many of you guys are going to like this one? Vicente knows this. I expressed my feelings about Sanders. I hate to be a negative guy, but Sanders does not impress me. Now, I know he is the first running back to eclipse 1,000 yards since LaShawn McCoy. Same thing with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. We haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since Macklin since 2014. And we've never had 2 1,000-yard receivers in the same year, which actually shocked me because I thought for sure Macklin and Djax did that, but apparently they didn't. So, yeah. I don't see us bringing Sanders back. I don't. Sanders is going to ask for a pay. Howie's not going to give it to him. He did good this year, but anybody can look we can make any running back look good behind our offensive line. This offensive line will make any running back look good. This was the best offensive line this year by far. And literally our entire offensive line, made the Pro Bowl. That's not really saying much. But 2 of our guys are on the first all-team, all-pro first team. If we had like Derrick Henry on our team, he would get 3,000 rushing yards. That's a bit of exaggeration, but you know what I'm saying. Any of the top 5 running backs would have at least like 1,700 yards with us, with our offensive line blocking for them. Sanders, I can't really tell you anything special about him. I just can't. He cannot catch a football to save his fucking life. And he's only good. Like, the only thing I can tell you about him, he will break off some really big runs for you, but that's about it. I can't really tell you, like, a specialty he has. He's not a shifty running back. It's just our offensive line makes him look really good. Now, did I want us to draft him? Yes, because he was the best running back available at the time. But there's plenty of other running backs that are set to be free agents this year. I just don't see us bringing him back. Every running back is known for something. McCaffrey is a Swiss Army knife. He's a great receiving back. Eckler, another Swiss Army knife. Derrick Henry can run you over. Same thing with Nick Chubb. He's a complete running back. Saquon is a complete running back. He can do everything. Sanders, I can't tell you a strength he has. He's not even agile. I've never seen him juke someone out of his... I've never seen him juke or spin out anyone. I've just seen him... His highlights are just long runs, and that's because of a big-ass hole the offensive line opened up for him. I can't really tell you much. I don't see him breaking tackles. I don't see him doing any of this stuff. I think of him as a above-average running back. That's it. I don't think of him anything more than that. Like, honestly, I would take Leonard Fournette over him. Because Fournette is a complete running back, too. He's not as good as he was, but I think he's better than Sanders. Honestly, I would bring Sanders back and have, a Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders 1-2 punch, if we could even afford that. But I'm not that crazy about Sanders. So I don't see us bringing him back. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We have to extend him. He got traded because the Saints couldn't extend him. It would be foolish of Howie to trade for... Now, granted, we gave up a bag of chips for him, but it would be foolish to not bring him back. I see him coming back with the Eagles. Marcus Epps, I see him coming back on a 1 or 2 year deal. Gardner Minshew, nah, I don't see him coming back. So, yeah, there's that. So, yeah, this season has been good. I'm not going to call it a success unless we make it to the Super Bowl or even if we win the Super Bowl, because those are the expectations this year. If we don't make the Super Bowl, the season's a failure. I hate to admit it. We've broken so many records this year. We've done so many things this year, and if just to miss the Super Bowl would be blasphemy. I don't like talking about this stuff because I find it irrelevant, but I figured it's worth mentioning. I had a dream last night. The Eagles, I dreamt that the Eagles were in the Super Bowl, and we were playing the Bills. When I was dreaming about that, when I saw the scoreboard, we were up 17-0. Then, literally a minute or two later, I looked away from the TV, I looked back at it, we're losing by more than one possession. It was such a weird dream, but it felt so real to me. Now, take this however you like. I just thought it was worth mentioning, but point being, I dreamt the Eagles in the Super Bowl against the Bills. I ain't bullshitting you. I fucking dreamt this shit. So, take it however you like. But I figured it was worth mentioning. So, there's that. Now, if all this stuff actually happens, I'm a fucking prophet. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a prophet. But I did wake up before the game ended, well before the game ended. So who knows? We probably came back. I don't know, but point being, those two teams are in the Super Bowl, so we'll see. So yeah, that's it for the Eagles right now. But like I said, we broke so many records this year. This season, this was a really good season, and it will not mean a thing without a ring. So we have to win this. We have to make it to the Super Bowl at least to make it a success. Like everything we did, it would be all for nothing. Like I said, we're losing a lot of guys this year after this season. So we have to. We have to win it. Super Bowl or bust. That's it. So that's enough with the Eagles. I want to talk about the award predictions. So week 1, I was talking about I was giving my picks on who would be MVP, offensive and defensive player of the year, as well as rookies of the year, coach of the year, comeback player of the year, all that shit. So I'm looking at it right now. Before the season started, I had Justin Herbert winning MVP. I think it's going to be Mahomes now. Offensive player of the year, I picked Justin Jefferson. I still think it's going to be Justin Jefferson. I think that's a lock. Defensive player of the year, I had Michael Parsons. He was the MVP. He was not the MVP. He was a favorite for a while, but now it's Nick Bosa. I think Bosa is going to win it. Offensive rookie of the year, I picked Chris Olave. He has a pretty good case, but I think it's going to go to Garrett Wilson. Defensive rookie of the year, I picked Sauce Gardner, and I think it's going to be Sauce Gardner. Comeback player of the year, I picked Saquon, and honestly right now it's like really close between Saquon and Geno Smith. Like I have no idea, but I picked Saquon before the year started. And coach of the year, I picked Brandon Staley. Right now the favorite is Nick Sirianni, but I think it's going to be Brian Daboll. I would love for it to be Nick Sirianni, but I think it's going to be Daboll. Like look what Daboll did to the Giants is, even though they're a rival, it's amazing. The Giants were horseshit. And when Daboll came in, he turned them around, and now they're a playoff team for the first time since 2016. So, yeah. And Doug Peterson, I think, is worth mentioning. The Jags were horseshit with Urban Meyer last year because Urban Meyer was just a shitty coach. Peterson comes in. That's who I remember talking about too. I wanted the Jags to hire Doug. Doug would have been perfect, and he is. He's a player's coach, and he's great with quarterbacks. And you have Trevor fucking Lawrence as your quarterback. Perfect. And look at them. They're in the playoffs now. First time since 2017. So, yeah. That's what I think right now. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the playoffs. Let's go over our wild card picks this week. So let's go here. Ah, shit. All right, let's see how this looks. That doesn't look good at all. Pick sheet. Yeah, this looks awful. Shit. Let's go here. Let's look at the filters. Fuck. Hold up. Can I get a full screen, please? Dude, what the fuck? Whatever. Shit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's go back here. Jesus, I suck with this shit. I should have prepared for this. My apologies. Alright, there we go. So, you have Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville, Chargers, Baltimore, and Miami. NFC, you have the Eagles, San Francisco, Minnesota, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Giants, Seattle. So, without further ado, let's get right into the picks, which is why we're all here. First game, we have Seattle at San Francisco. San Francisco is the hottest team in the league right now. They are they were, last time I checked, 9-1 or like 10-1 since trading for Christian McCaffrey. The Niners are currently 9.5-point favorites, and that's who I'm picking. I'm picking the Niners. Next, we have the Chargers at Jaguars. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. Chargers will not have Mike Williams because Brandon Staley thought it was a good idea to play off his starters for like the whole game when it was pointless. And now he's paying the price for it. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville here. A lot of people are saying this is like the hardest game to pick this week. I'm going to pick Jacksonville. I'm riding with Doug Peterson. I'm rooting for Doug Peterson. So yeah. Next, we have the Dolphins at the Bills. The Bills are 13.5-point favorites, and the Dolphins will not have Tua. They're going to start Skylar Thompson, who played like shit the last time he was playing against the Bills. He had like 2 or 3 turnovers and just got demolished. So I'm going to go with the Bills here. Next, we have the Giants at Vikings. The Vikings are 3-point favorites. And that game came down to a game-winning field goal. You never know with the Vikings. I know they're 13-4, but they either get blown out or win close games. Nothing in between. They beat the Giants last time, but the Giants didn't have their best secondary players playing. Now I believe they're healthy and they should be playing. I am actually going to pick the Giants. Anthony's going to love me for this. I'm picking the Giants to beat the Vikings. Next, we have the Ravens at Bengals. We have no idea if Lamar is playing or not. But regardless if he plays or not, I'm picking the Bengals. Next, and finally, we have the Cowboys at the Buccaneers. Just like the Vikings, you never know with the Cowboys. 1 minute, they look like a scary team. Then the Cowboy fans hype their team up, saying it's their year like they do every year. And then they shit the bed against some sucky team. So, yeah. And they're going against playoff Tom Brady. Now, I know the Buccaneers aren't that good this year, but it's still playoff Tom. The Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites, despite being the away team. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here. So, yeah, those are my picks this week. And with the way that looks, the Eagles would be playing the Giants next week, and the Niners would be playing the Buccaneers. The Bengals would be playing the Bills, and the Jaguars would be playing the Chiefs. And might as well, I'll just go along with my playoff predictions in general. The Giants come to Philly. I think the Eagles would win that game. So there's that. The Buccaneers and the Niners, I'm picking the Niners to win that game. The Bills and Bengals game, that's going to be a good game. We should have had that game, but unfortunately, we all know the situation that happened, and Damar Hamlin is doing really well right now. He got discharged from the hospital, and you love to see it. So, the Bengals and Bills would be a rematch of what could have been. So we'll see what happens. I believe this game would be at a neutral site too, given what happened. Because I know if the Chiefs and Bills play, that'll be played at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is in Atlanta. So I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Bengals, and I'm going to pick the Chiefs to beat the Jaguars, as much as I want to see Doug Peterson succeed. So that would leave us with yet another Bills and Chiefs AFC Championship game, and then we would have an Eagles and Niners NFC Championship game. I think the Bills come out of the AFC this year. I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. NFC, the Niners scare me. I'm not going to lie to you. But as I think about it, Brock Purdy has been doing good this year. But at the same time, he reminds me of Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush had average stats during his 5 or 6 starts this year. All he had to do was be a serviceable quarterback. He just had to be average. As long as he didn't do bad, the Cowboys would have been fine. Brock Purdy, I feel like, is the same way. Purdy, he hasn't gone against any top defenses this year. And look who he has in his corner. He has McCaffrey, Debo, George Kittle, and Kyle Shanahan as his coach. So, I mean, he has it good right now. But once, with Cooper Rush, once Cooper Rush had to get into a quarterback duel, once you had to start making Cooper Rush throw, they couldn't win the game. And we'll see if that happens with Brock Purdy. But if that happens with the Eagles, like, the Niners defense is really good. But if that happens, I do like the Eagles' chances. So I think the Eagles come out of the NFC and play the Bills in the Super Bowl. So I told you about my dream, about what happened. I really feel like the only team that can beat the Eagles is the Eagles. If you look at the games we lost, it was costly turnovers. That was it. The Washington game, we had so many chances to come back, but we turned the ball over. The Cowboys game, 4 turnovers, and we only lost by 6. The Saints game, I don't even want to talk about that. But we are our biggest weakness. If we don't shoot ourselves in the foot like we did, we'll be fine. So I'm going to leave it at that. I told you about the dream. I'm not going to pick the Super Bowl winner just out of superstition, because I'm a superstitious person. So yeah, that is it for this week. I will post for the divisional games this upcoming weekend. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.